Hi, in this video we're going to cover the very basics of PowerShell, things like moving around from between folders and running programs. And the reason I'm making this video is that I want to start a series about computer graphics in January, and I need PowerShell in it. So I was looking for a video that covered just the very basics that I could link to in other videos, but I couldn't find such a video, so I decided to make it myself. So we get started. When you run PowerShell, you get this line where you can start typing commands, and it also prints where you are in your system. Right now I'm in C drive, right? And like every other program, you can use Control-A to select the stuff, Control-C, copy them, Control-V, paste stuff into the command line. Now, let's go to the first command, ls. ls stands for list, and it shows the stuff in your folders, right? So for example, right now I'm in C. If I run ls by itself, it shows the stuff I have in my C drive here. But I can also give it the name of a folder. For example, program files. Here are the stuff in my program files. And I can use the mouse to scroll up and down and see if there are too many stuff. So, and did you notice I didn't type program files completely? I just typed pro and then tab for auto completion. And you can keep pressing tab to go through everything that starts with pro. And if you want to clear the screen, Control L. Control L. So, the next command is cd. It stands for C means change D directory, change directory. So we use it to move from one folder to another. So let's go to this Windows folder. And by the way, if you don't know if something is a folder or a file, see this D? So Windows is a folder. Dash, file. So these are files. Now it's easier to look at the sizes. Folders are containers. They don't have a size. So blank means folder. Number means file. And these are in bytes, by the way. So for example, this one is 68 kilobytes. Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's go to this directory web. And now 4K. And we can keep doing this and go deeper and deeper. But if I want to go one folder back to the parent directory, ... So ... means the parent directory. And if you want to go back all the way to the root of the drive, \. And we don't need to move around one folder at a time like I did before. You can type the whole path and go there in one go. So to get back to that 4K, we can do this. And you see when we press tab, we get this dot. It means the current folder. So this line kind of reads like starting from the current folder, going to Windows, then web, then 4K. And it's not necessary. We can remove it and it still works. And by the way, to go see your previous commands, use the up and down arrow keys. So here, if I remove this part, it still works. And this is important because it means that anything you type, PowerShell always assumes that you mean starting from your current folder. So what do you think happens if I enter the same command now that I'm already in 4K? It's going to give me an error. Why? Because it tries to go, let me fix this. Because it tries to go to this address starting from here. So it ends up with this web 4K, Windows web 4K folder. And it does not exist, so we get an error. Now imagine I want to go to a folder that is nowhere near this 4K. For example, I have Krita installed. Krita is something like Photoshop, and I want to go to its folder. It's in program files. So to go there, I can use, for example, I can use the ... go to web, then the parent of that, which is Windows, then C, then program files, and then Krita. And that will work. But it's way easier just to type, go to C, then program files, and then Krita. And this kind of address is called absolute path, right? Or absolute address, because it doesn't depend on your current folder. It always works. And one more thing. Imagine I want to go to another drive, for example, D colon, right? And to get back to C, C colon. And you see when I get back to C, I return to Krita's folder. The reason is when you're leaving a drive, PowerShell remembers the folder you were in when you left. And when you return to that drive, you return to that folder. Now let's talk about running programs from the command line. Imagine I want to run Krita. With File Explorer, you just find krita.exe and double click on it. Here, you have to type its address. So you see that bin directory over there? Krita is in there. So krita.exe. And here it is. Now, I could have used the absolute path, the one starting with C:, and that would work too. But there's just one thing to notice when using the relative address. If I'm inside bin, okay, now the relative address is just the name of the executable. But if I run this, it just says krita.exe was not found, but does exist in the current location. If you want to run that, use /. Now earlier when we used ls or cd, I explained that // was not necessary, that anything that you type is always assumed to mean in the current folder. So why is it that we need it here? It's for security. I'm not going to explain it here. You can look it up. It's easy. But just remember, if you have an executable in your current folder and you want to run it, you need the /. Okay, now I'm going to use Krita to open an image. Now, normally you don't use PowerShell to view images. You use it for tools like compilers. But here our goal is just to learn how it works, so it doesn't matter what the application is. So let's go to my pictures folder. It's in my home folder, of course. So cd, users, kid. My username is kid. Stupid. Pictures. But there's a shortcut for home folder. It's called tilde. So now you see I have an image here called Dracula. It's the poster of an old Dracula movie. Let's open it with Krita. What do you think happens if I just write krita.exe Dracula? It won't work because it can't just magically find its address. We need to type it ourselves. So C, program files, Krita, bin, krita.exe. And here's the image. But it's very inconvenient, right? Having to type this every single time we want to use it. But now look at this. MS Paint, Microsoft Paint, Dracula. So you can run Paint without giving its full address. And if you're wondering where it is, you can use this command called where. MS. Here, it's in this folder here. Okay, so why is it that we can run Paint without giving its full address? The reason is this variable named path here. And don't worry, I'm going to show how to open this window in a second. But if you double click path, you see that it has a list of folders in it. Now, the way it works is like this. When you type the name of an executable without giving an address, Windows is going to search these folders here to see if it can find that executable. So this, for example, this very first address is the folder that contains Paint. So that's why Windows can find and run it. Now, let me show you how to open this window. Hit Start, search for Edit Environment Variables, and then this button here, Environment Variables. Now, let's add Krita to the path so that we can run it without giving its full address. By the way, there are two paths here. One is up here, the other one is down here. The difference is that if I add Krita to this one, then it only affects my user. But if I add it here, then all the users on this system, on this computer, they all can run Krita from the command line without giving the full address. I'm going to do it here. So press New, Browse, and then browse to the folder containing crypto.exe. That's it. Now we're going to close everything. And we also have to restart PowerShell. And now let's go back to that pictures directory. And now it works. Okay, so that's it. I think these are the very basics that everybody needs to know. But of course, there's a lot more to learn. For example, you can use the command line to make a directory, move it around, delete it, whatever. Or you can go learn PowerShell scripting, where they use fancy words like set location instead of CD, or get child item instead of ls. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. And as I said, I'm going to start a series about computer graphics in January. So if you're the kind of person who is interested in that kind of stuff, then come back then and check it out. Bye.